Hello everyone, welcome back to Old Charles the channel, where we explore the fascinating history, hidden value, and collectors' secrets behind coins from around the world. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the United States 1-cent coin from 1980, a small coin with a big history. We'll talk about its background, how much it's worth today, and how condition plays a huge role in its value. So, let's get started. The 1980 penny is part of a long-running Lincoln cent series, which first appeared in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln on the 100th anniversary of his birth. From 1959 to 2008, the reverse of the Lincoln cent featured the Lincoln Memorial design, created by Frank Gasparo. If you look closely at this reverse, you can even see a tiny statue of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial, a detail many people don't notice at first. The obverse side, or the front of the coin, continued to feature Victor D. Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, WY 1980. The United States Mint was still producing pennies with a 95% copper and 5% zinc composition, weighing 3.11 grams. This composition was used until 1982, when rising copper prices forced the mint to switch to a copper-plated zinc version that weighed less to SO. The 1980 penny is among the last pennies made entirely from copper, a fact that makes it historically significant for collectors. In 1980, pennies were struck at multiple mints. Philadelphia Mint ***, over 7.4 billion pennies minted, no mint mark. Denver Mint ***, over 5 billion pennies minted, mint mark D. San Francisco Mint ***, produced proof coins only, with the S mint mark. This means the 1980 penny is not rare in circulation, but special varieties, high grades, or proof versions can hold collector interest. Most 1980 pennies you find in your pocket change are still only worth 1 cent. Because billions were minted, they are common in worn condition. However, copper value also matters. Each 1980 penny contains about 2.5 cents worth of copper at today's metal prices. While melting pennies for copper is illegal in the U.S., the intrinsic metal value makes copper pennies from before 1982 more collectible. So, at minimum, a 1980 penny is always worth at least face value, and possibly more to collectors. Rare sharp strike no marks can be worth $20 to $200 or even higher at auctions. Proof coins from San Francisco, with mirror-like surfaces, can fetch anywhere from $1 to $10, and deep cameo examples can be much more valuable. Collectors love error coins, and the 1980 penny has some notable ones. Parts of the design missing can range from a few dollars to over $100 depending on how far off center. Doubling in the lettering or date can be worth $20 to several $100. A small die break between the B and E in Liberty often sells for a few dollars. Always check your 1980 penny carefully, because one small error can turn an ordinary coin into a valuable find. Keep an eye on red, uncirculated copper pennies. Red coins, with full original copper luster, are much more valuable than brown or toned ones. If you find a proof coin with the S mint mark from 1980, keep it safe. It has collectible value even in lower grades. Consider that copper pennies, like the 1980 issue, may gain more value in the future if copper prices rise further. So, the United States 1 cent from 1980 may seem common, but its story is deeply tied to American history, the Lincoln cent legacy, and even the rising cost of copper. While most are worth just face value, high-grade examples, proofs, and rare error coins can be worth much more. The story of the 1980 Lincoln cent is part of a much larger narrative that stretches across more than a century of American coinage. To truly understand the importance of this coin, we need to go back to the early 20th century. In 1909, the United States Mint made history by introducing the first coin in circulation to feature the portrait of an actual American president, Abraham Lincoln ***. Up until then, U.S. coins typically displayed symbolic images like Lady Liberty or representations of freedom and strength. The decision to place Lincoln's portrait on the 1 cent coin was not only groundbreaking, but also deeply symbolic. Why Lincoln 1909 marked the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. He was remembered as the president who preserved the Union during the Civil War and who issued the Emancipation Proclamation, which declared freedom for enslaved people. President Theodore Roosevelt personally pushed for Lincoln's image on the penny, believing that U.S. coins should reflect the nation's greatest leaders and values. The design was created by Victor David Brenner, a Lithuanian immigrant and talented engraver. His portrait of Lincoln on the obverse side became one of the most iconic and enduring designs in American coinage. When the Lincoln cent was first released in 1909, the reverse design featured 2 wheat stalks, which is why early pennies from 1909 to 1958 are called wheat cents. In 1959, to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the reverse design was changed. Frank Gasparo, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint, designed the Lincoln Memorial reverse. This was a huge change because it not only honored Lincoln again, but also showed the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., with a hidden detail. If you look closely, you can actually see the tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial. This meant that both the obverse and reverse of the coin depicted Lincoln, making it the first U.S. coin to honor the same person on both sides. The 1980 penny carried this Lincoln Memorial design, which was used from 1959 until 2008. That makes the 1980 cent part of a 50-year chapter in U.S. coinage history. Another key part of the 1980 penny's history is its metal composition. From 1909 until 1982, Lincoln cents were made primarily of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. By the late 1970s and early 1980s, the rising cost of copper began to threaten the penny's production. At times, the metal content of the coin was worth more than its face value. The U.S. Mint responded in 1982 by switching to a lighter composition, 97.5% zinc with only a thin copper plating, weighing just 2.5 grams. That means the 1980 Lincoln penny is one of the last true copper pennies ever struck in America. A significant detail for both collectors and historians. WY 1980. The penny had become the most widely used coin in the U.S. economy. Inflation had reduced the purchasing power of the cent compared to earlier decades, but it still played a key role in everyday transactions. That year, the Mint produced billions of pennies at Philadelphia and Denver and proof coins at San Francisco. Because of its massive production numbers, the 1980 penny was everywhere. In pockets, purses, cash registers, and piggy banks. For many Americans, it was the coin most often handled daily. The year 1980 was also a turning point in American history. The United States was coming out of the turbulent 1970s and entering the Reagan era. Inflation was high, unemployment was challenging, and the value of money was a major national concern. Pennies, though small, were still vital for commerce. In fact, many people during this time saved copper pennies, knowing their metal might one day be worth more than face value. The penny was not just a coin, it was a symbol of American tradition. Lincoln's image represented unity, strength, and the nation's struggle for freedom. By 1980, the coin had already been in continuous production for over 70 years, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in the world. When it comes to coins like the 1980 Lincoln cent, condition is everything. While billions were minted, only a small fraction survive today in pristine, collectible condition. Coin collectors use a system called grading to describe the state of preservation of a coin, and this grading directly influences its market value. Let's break this down in detail. Are those that have been used in everyday commerce. They will show obvious signs of wear, scratches, faded details, dull color, and sometimes dirt or corrosion. A circulated 1980 penny usually has only face value, though copper content makes it slightly more desirable to collectors. That also called mint stay coins are coins that never entered circulation. They still have their original luster and sharp details. Collectors pay premiums for these because they are much harder to find. One unique aspect of copper coins, like the 1980 penny, is how they age. Over time, copper changes color due to oxidation. Most circulated 1980 pennies appear brown or dark, losing the original coppery glow. These are the least valuable, that a mix of original reddish color with some brown toning. These are more collectible than fully brown examples. Coins that retain nearly all of their original bright red-orange copper luster. These are the most valuable, especially in mint state grades, because copper naturally darkens over time, and it's rare for a coin over 40 years old to stay bright red. For example, a 1980 penny in MS65 red condition can be worth many times more than the same coin in MS65 brown. Collectors use the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70, to grade coins. Here's how the 1980 penny fits into this system. The coin is heavily worn, with Lincoln's portrait barely visible. The date and lettering may be faint. Value, 1 cent. Lincoln's head is outlined but with heavy wear. The date is readable, though faint. Reverse details of the Lincoln Memorial are flat. Value, 1 cent, maybe 2 cents to a copper collector. Always handle copper coins carefully, preferably by the edges, to avoid fingerprints, which can cause spots. Store high-grade pennies in airtight holders or slabs to preserve their color. Focus on red uncirculated coins for investment. These hold the highest long-term value. Error coins in high grade are especially prized. An off-center 1980 penny in MS condition could be worth dozens or even hundreds of dollars. End summary. While most 1980 pennies in circulation are only worth face value, condition changes everything. A dull brown penny is worth a cent, but a blazing red, gem-quality coin could bring in hundreds of dollars at auction. That's why grading and preservation are the key to unlocking the hidden value of this small copper coin.